Hello all, and welcome to this Thursday evening review. My usual, well, a little bit more later than evening. It's 9:04. Why so late? Well, I don't know. I wanted to go and let this warm up a little bit. Because I think, I had two cans of this already, and I really, really wanted to, enjoy it. And I think maybe that letting it warm up a bit would allow it to reach its full potential, as it were. So it's been out of the refrigerator for about 20 minutes already. And yeah, so anyways, I haven't dubbed this review yet. I'm going to dub it the Slightly Peaked review. I'm slightly peaked right now. I'm really hoping I'm not coming down with something again. Holy shit, this year has been the year of respiratory diseases. The last thing I need is a trifecta. I'm going to have me on like freaking supplementary oxygen at that point. Maybe I could quit smoking, but yeah. Anyways, what are we reviewing? Well, this is another New Belgium one, and this one is fairly expensive. Why is it fairly expensive? This one was almost $15 for the 4-pack of these tall boys. Why is it fairly expensive? Well, one, it's a sour that is not a kettle sour. It's an actual aged sour. That is an element of it. This is sort of a mixed beer. And, yeah, so let's go and read the label. It's called Oh Sweetie Gingerbread Tart Porter. So it's dark and sour. Read the label here. Island-inspired porter blended with the foeder. I don't know how you pronounce foeder. Aged dark sour ale, ginger, black pepper, clove, and natural flavors. So yeah, it's a 7.0 ABV, and I'm going to go to the website right now, which has a little bit more of a thicker description here. Oh, sweetie, aren't you just the tartest little thing? We set out to create a mouth-puckering, wood-aged dark sour that upon the first sniff and sip makes one think they took a bite out of a decadent, spicy gingerbread. It might also surprise you to know this beer is a makana, gift, for all the dark and sour beer lovers in Hawaii. And to our surprise, there are many, like myself, which delights us so. And to you, hoping it delights you too. To create the impossible, we started with a ooey gooey gingerbread porter with loads of molasses, chocolate, caramel, and honey malts with a hefty spicing of ginger, black pepper, cloves, and more ginger. We then blended this with our legacy weather-aged dark sour to evoke the tart refreshing finish. So that was the verbiage there. And you can kind of see the art is psychedelic with ginger on it. Ginger flowers there. Now, why they're saying this is Hawaii inspired, I have no idea. Ginger grows in Hawaii. It's quite prolific. Grows quite prolifically in Hawaii, but it's not really like culinary ginger. It's more floral ginger. Um, can grow culinary ginger here, though. I know that. It's just we're not really known for it. Can grow black pepper and clove here. Again, not really known for it. And dark ales are not something I associate with Hawaii. Neither are sours. What do I associate with Hawaii beer-wise? Honestly, light lagers. But let's get to it, shall we? Sorry for the wheezing. Again, still coming off of that RSV thing that was going around a while back. So let's pour this out now, shall we? I'm going to give it a fairly vigorous pour here. Build up some of that head. Because there's nothing more than a man who likes good head on his beer. Okay. So, sort of a light dark brown. It doesn't look like it, but some light passes around the edge here. It looks like there's a reddish color underneath the brown, with a quickly receding beige head, and I'm going to go to that right now. So yeah, you definitely have ginger and dark bread. So gingerbread. Yeah, you definitely smell the black pepper too. The cloves, maybe a little bit. There's a lot going on here. And unfortunately, the head kind of dissipates kind of quickly on this, which is sad because there's quite a bit of wonderful scents in the nose. You know, that spicy nose on top of that dark malt base there, that dark bready malt base. So again, vocative of gingerbread, making it somewhat of a seasonal beer, which is why I picked it out. Trying to really go for the seasonal angle for this December. No, we'll see if I stay true to it. There's a lot of great sours on the shelf over at Whole Foods. This one is probably the only one that's a sour that is seasonal, I suppose. Well, onto the palate now, shall we? Yes. Letting it really warm did help it quite a bit. Not 100%, but better. And I'll get to what I'm talking about in a bit. So first off, this is definitely tart. The tartness on the palate takes, it is the primary note. And it is definitely the sort of barrel-aged Feuchter sour note there. None of that minerality, none of that, kind of sweet tarts kind of tastes I associate with kettle sours. No, this is aged sour tasting. And what do you associate with aged sour taste? A slight woodiness. Actually, a little bit more than slight woodiness. Um, and an almost imperceptible mustiness. And I mean musty in a pleasant way. Top note. Boom! Ginger in that top note. Just definitely should mention it right now. Top note is right into the nose ginger. And as you can see, that really goes to show how much of a ginger bomb this is. It's just that sourness, is what really dominates the palate, the surface of the tongue. Then you move on, and while the ginger is big in the nose, up front and into the mids, it's a bit more pepper and clove. You know, that tingling and that slight tingling, slight numbness that one associates with pepper and clove. Black pepper, I should go and quantify. Now, there's other additives there. Can I suss them out? No, not really, because they're such, the ginger, the pepper, and the sour are so big and so impactful that it leads me into the one main issue I have with this beer, and that on the palate, the malts are barely perceptible, which is the reason why I tried to let it warm up. warming is the best way to have warming the beer up a little bit. And what I mean by warming is getting it closer to, room temperature. And I mean like mainland room temperature, about 65 degrees, rather than Hawaii room temperature, which right now is 78 degrees, which is kind of cool for Hawaii, but not cold, not yet. Lower it about 5 degrees, and I'll start putting on the flannel. It's hard to discern where the carbonation bite stops and the kind of pepper and clove kicks in up front. But I'm digressing there. I'm just kind of mentioning it. This is a nicely complex beer. But the dark malts that show up in the nose are not the dark malts, that they're so imperceptible on the palate that you're kind of missing that one gingerbread element on the palate, the breadiness. If you could amp that dark malt flavor up, then you would have like this really fascinating kind of take on the beer. And yeah, I guess it's not so much you need to go and amp the malting up, because I have a feeling that it's not overly light in regards to the amount of dark malts used for the porter, but it's just that the addition of the aged sour is probably the one thing that's over there obscuring the malts the most. I would have used a little bit of a lighter hand on that if possible. I'm not a brewer, so I don't really know how difficult it is to do the various things that I sometimes say in order to go and improve the experience, at least from my perspective. But yeah, warming it up, the malts sort of show up in the mids, but then they decrease again in the finish and don't show again into the long finish. Obviously, it's not a clean finish. There's tartness in the finish. There's that spice in the finish, and there's maltiness in the long finish too. Ironically, the malts are showing up more in the top note, up there with the ginger, than they are on the palate. I do love the addition of the black pepper and the cloves. It definitely adds more layers of complexity upon the ginger. I would have to say it's very difficult to discern the ABV on this. Um, it could sneak up on you if you didn't know the ABV, that's for sure. The acidity of sours tends to mask the presence of alcohol, I find. Yeah, it's really at its most balanced in the long finish. You know, the malts kind of hold on there as the spices the malts and the spices hold on there while the tartness kind of diminishes the first and the quickest in the long finish. Kind of leads me to I'm not sure why they named this Oh Sweetie. I'm not going to say it's dry. I can definitely sense the presence of sugars there, especially in the finish. But that tartness and that spiciness means that you're not really tasting any sweetness while it's on your palate. Sugar is more of a tactile feel, I would say. You know, a stickiness and a thickness to it. And it's definitely necessary, that sugar, to um, amp up the body a little bit. But sensation-wise, if you're getting this and thinking, "Oh, it's going to be sour, sweet, and gingerbready," ain't much perceived sweetness here. That is for sure. Honestly, the more it warms up, the better it gets. That or the 7.0 is hitting me on the empty stomach. Yeah, yeah. In the finish, the malts are expanding. It's probably close to about 65 right now. Definitely have this served at like, you know, English beer serving temperatures. I think that's really the ideal serving temperature for this. What most people would consider warm beer. I think that really goes and in fact, I'm actually next. I think for my final can, I think I'm going to take it out of the refrigerator and let it sit on the counter for half an hour or 45 minutes instead of just, 15, 20 minutes thereabouts. I think it would really make the experience even more pleasant. So I am showing my intoxication right now, which means it is time to go and wrap up this particular review of New Belgium's Oh Sweetie Gingerbread Tart Porter. It's kind of pricey, but it's a interesting beer. Like I said, there's some flaws, um, and I think those can be rectified by having it at a much warmer serving temperature than you would normally serve beer in Hawaii. And that's why I think it's kind of interesting that they're like saying Hawaii inspired beer. Well, in Hawaii, we have our beer ice cold because it's freaking hot here, most of the year. Well, I'm pretty sure that for most of you people, especially, you know, uh, my people, my peeps watching this up in North America right now, New England, Midwest, yeah, you're probably looking at me and saying, "Oh, you're bitching about your 78-degree breezy ass weather right now." Bitch, I'm in a 6-foot snowdrift. And I'm like, yes, but I'm trying to give context here. And I'm really freaking rambling, aren't I? I haven't eaten for a while, and like I said, I was a little bit peaked before this. But yeah, really interesting, complex beer. One caveat, serve it pretty goddamn warm so you can get the full experience. If you serve it cold, that tartness is just kind of going to overwhelm the maltiness, and you're just kind of left with tartness and spice. You want those malts to show up there to have that really complex, nuanced experience. So let it warm up quite a bit before you go and drink this. And that, folks, is your beer review for this Tart Gingerbread Porter. Enlightened, God, I just rambled on, didn't I? Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to end it now. Cheers.